We often talk about stuff that goes down in the US of A, but what about across the pond? Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 crazy things British gamers have done. Coming in at number 10, a 78-year-old woman who may be the UK's oldest gamer, stayed in line at midnight back in November of 2013 to get the new Call of Duty. Specifically, it was Call of Duty Ghosts, and had the following to say: I suffered 2 strokes in 2008, and things like this keep me on my toes. When you're playing games, you're on the edge of your seat. They're really realistic. It's amazing how they make them. It's like playing a Hollywood movie. When I play with my grandson, and I don't think I ever beat him. But I don't mind, I enjoy it anyway. I mean, she's not as old as that 99-year-old lady who was gaming in Japan in 2011, and I'm not sure that lady's still alive anymore. That was obviously a while ago, but that's pretty old. It's not exactly a trend to be playing Call of Duty as an older person, and that's also actually pretty cool. Coming in at number 9, a 15-year-old boy from Essex by the name of Jayden Ashman was playing too much Fortnite, and his mom was dismayed about it. His mom threw out his Xbox, his mom snapped his headset, his mom did some not cool things regarding his video games. And then he won £900,000 in the Fortnite World Championship, which, to be clear, is almost $1.1 million. Yeah, in the Fortnite World Cup, he and a partner from the Netherlands teamed up and came in second place. They won £1.8 million, which they split down the middle, leaving them both to walk away with the equivalent of over $1 million. He said he's gonna buy his mom a house too, which is like the ultimate in like nice spite. You broke my Xbox and my headset while I was trying to get good at this game, and this game gave me all this money. We're gonna live in a nice new house, and you're gonna appreciate it, Mom. Coming in at number 8, a British gamer listed his Xbox 360 on eBay. Now, to say it overheated is a massive understatement. It did not overheat, it probably got caught in a fire. Because it's melted. It's missing buttons because the buttons seem to have merged with everything else. Like, it was clearly in a fire. And yet, he listed it as a, quote, faulty Xbox 360. Which, come on, man. Moving on to number 7, a couple that met on the chat program IMVU not only got engaged but got married in 2012. Now, the Daily Mail newspaper, the one that covered it at the time, said they got married despite the fact that they looked nothing like their avatars in IMVU, noting that both of them weighed significantly more, which, who cares? And I'm just gonna go ahead and say that while IMVU isn't exactly like the most hardcore video game out there, this is just like the perfect example of how like non-gamers view people who like video games. They don't give a crap that they both share common interests and have probably talked more than any couple at any point. They're fat. That's just ridiculous. When people get married because they meet in an online game, it's like usually a match made in heaven. That's the kind of reason why people do that. They're both interested in that game. And in the case of like a game that's based entirely around chatting, which that's what that was, it was kind of a Second Life style game. I don't even know if it's still around. Coming in at number 6, a gentleman by the name of Jamie Callis, who is from Wales, had to deal with a gaming addiction problem you don't hear a lot of, but man, this guy was playing a lot, and it affected him in a way that you're not going to expect. In playing most of his waking hours on screen with players that aren't necessarily from his country, in fact, most of them being international players, he actually, to some extent, lost his Welsh accent. Now, I think it's important to note that to anybody who hasn't heard a Welsh accent before, you're not going to think that this dude's an American or anything. But a Welsh accent is a harsh accent. It is noticeable. And listening to this guy talk, it is very soft compared to basically any other Welsh person I've ever heard. And that's not an insult to Welsh people at all. You actually have a lovely accent. Moving on to number 5, a 13-year-old kid was playing Call of Duty. And some dude who was 46 years old and apparently close enough to track down this kid did. Like, that's exactly what he did. He tracked down this kid. The guy was 46 years old, had 3 kids of his own, and this is his excuse. I've been playing the whole whole day and he was just baiting me and just would not shut up. He went on and I just lost it. Which is like a thing that you say when you try to get out of something at school. It's really, really not a good excuse. The boy's mother said if you can't handle losing to a child, then you shouldn't be playing games. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that kid's mom is spot on. I have lost track of the number of 13-year-old kids who have absolutely whooped my ass in multiplayer online games. I don't care. I play them because they're fun. Great Britain. I guess that's what happens when all the psychos live in close proximity to each other. I'd make an inmates are running the asylum joke, but that's Australia. Coming in at number 4, a woman by the name of Elizabeth Corpse was getting married in Chessington, England, and found that the wedding venue turned out to be a Pokemon Go gym. And it just so happened that she was getting married in July of 2016, when Pokemon Go was the biggest thing in the entire world. Simpler times, right? Back when your wedding could get mobbed by Pokemon trainers. And that was like the worst problem. What I like is that you can see all these photos that people took with the Pokemon Go app of like Pokemon with the bride. Fortunately, she found it just about as funny as I do and didn't get like angry or anything at anybody. But like, let's just be clear, all the screenshots of the wedding venue covered in Pokemon to me are amazing. Well worth the price of Pokemon Go existing. Well worth it becoming that saturated. Oh my god, that is just, it's wonderful. Coming in at number 3, someone from England who had met somebody several years prior playing a video game ended up solving a kidnapping. Let me explain. A guy by the name of Virgil Henley lost custody of his daughter Yvette, and it was granted to her grandparents. And instead of showing up like the court ordered him to, he disappeared. That's not great. You don't lose custody of a daughter to the baby's grandparents. You're a great guy. Like sometimes when there's a divorce or something, custody gets lost to one of the two spouses. And it's conceivable that somebody said something in court that represented the situation improperly. Generally, that's not what happens, but it's conceivable. You often have a husband and wife that hate each other saying the very worst things about them in court. But it doesn't usually get as far as giving the kid over to grandparents unless something severe has happened. I don't know what that thing is here. But anyway, what happened, a guy named Harry Brown from London, England, had met old Virgil Henley in a video game several years prior, and the grandparents tracked him down and convinced him to get a hold of Virgil and be like, hey, where are you right now? Now, it wasn't that obvious. What ended up transpiring was he convinced him to let him buy a pizza at the motel he was staying at. And instead of buying him a pizza, he gave the address over to the family and they called the police. And the police caught this guy, got the baby back to the grandparents, and basically ended this whole thing. And wow, just wow, that's wild. I don't even have any input. That's amazing. Moving on to number 2. Hey, remember how I said there's mechanics that take advantage of people who might get addicted to things? A gamer who was identified only as Michael was shocked to learn, back in July of 2018, that he had spent £7,540 on FIFA Ultimate Team cards. That's roughly $10,000. He found that out when he found out you could actually request that information from EA in the United Kingdom. And, you know, this is a British thing, so he was described as gobsmacked. And when he found out, he said the data EA provided him made him realize that FIFA points are just not worth it. To which EA said, we take our responsibility to protect players' data privacy very seriously, and it's absolutely our intent to provide choice and control over their information. They're just like, we do not want to talk about this. Don't make us talk about this. They went on to say, EA takes great care to respond to data access requests like these in a timely manner and consistent with each player's requests. Do not make us talk about what he requested specifically. Do not do it. It's just funny to me. I enjoy it. Not what happened to him, obviously. Like, losing that much money in a game with addictive mechanics sucks. And finally, coming in at number 1, a guy who has come to be known as Metal Gear Man basically had a high-tech bionic arm made to look like Big Boss from Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain, which Konami happily funded. In fact, it was part of an initiative they started called the Phantom Limb Project, apparently. I mean, they've only had this project and it was pitched to them by him. But ultimately, it's not quite as functional as the Phantom Pain limb. But it does look like something out of maybe like Cyberpunk. I'm sure you'll see an arm or two that looks similar to this thing in the game next year. And it has some small minor controls that use his neck muscles in order to be able to manipulate the fingers. Now, hopefully over time that technology gets better and it will function more and more like an arm. But let's just be clear, that's amazing. There's a 2-part half-hour documentary on the making of it, and it's a super interesting watch. Like, it's not just from an information perspective interesting, but it's actually a really inspiring video as well. Now, there are obviously plenty of crazy things that British gamers have done. What's your favorite here? Leave us a comment, let us know. And if you like this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time, right here on GameRanx.